Steph, I need you to draw Buzz Aldrin punching a man through a Bible. We're gonna sell t-shirts. We're gonna buy a new house.
I've never asked for anything before from you, Tom, but I want you to isolate what you just said and open the episode with that. No pretext, no explanation. Just start with that and then start the episode, please.
Today's episode of Wiki Sift is brought to you by 3 unidentified creatures in a large trench coat passing themselves off as one man. Bowling incoming. Just that one time you said it sounded like it was
Congratulations, your sound card is working.
Yeah.
Your sound card works perfectly.
Enjoying yourself.
That's a throwback for any DOS fans out there, any DOS gamers.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Although the best sound setup was still the one
and how much the mighty have fallen. Boy, what an innocent time when you could just have fun annoying the sound test menu. What an innocent, unbetrayed gaming populace.
I can't even remember the name of it. It was something with fleas or mites. Mimi and the Mites. It was a game called Mimi and the Mites, okay. And the sound card test sound was just a chorus of like 5 guys singing, "Your sound card is working." Do-do-do-do-do.
That's. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I kind of love that. Yeah. Welcome to Wiki Sift, a shallow dive into pop culture and fandom. Today we're continuing our talk about the hidden truth. Did you just do a Stevo's info battles theme?
Duh, 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 duh. Yeah, let's do it.
I've not heard it.
Okay, here, you know what? Here you go, Tom. I as composer for the Data Battles theme, I hereby give you carte blanche to use that in whatever you see fit.
Oh, that's gonna be in every episode now.
Do it. Just do it. And you know what? Every time you do it, I will be obligated to say, you should watch the movies that sound effect comes from. The Meowie Christmas movies by Steve Rudzinski. You can find them on Amazon, typically for free.
I do kind of want to see them.
I can highly recommend the quadrilogy. It's beautiful.
I'm Tom, he's an evil genius white, and today I'm joined by...
I'm the composer for a Meowie Christmas, a Meowie Halloween, a Meowie St. Patrick's Day, and a Meowie Christmas Vacation. My name is Stevo, and that's all that's important about me.
Our special guest who's here every week.
Yay, I'm still special!
I'm Ian M. 0x Diamond Burton, and I do a bunch of shit on the internet.
He's also basically here every week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wiki Sift is a willfully ignorant fandom podcast where we don't actually directly consume media and just read what fans wrote about it online, because I could play all 11 Ace Attorney games, but I'd rather just find a list online of the number of characters that openly brandish weapons in court and no one treats it like a big deal. Actually, I haven't found a list, but I'm pretty sure it happens a lot. Actually, I did find one instance of a character not only bringing a whip, but openly brandishing in court, and in fact whipping the judge with it and not getting in trouble.
So now you've given me many more obligations to add to every episode of Divorce Lawyer Dinosaur Island.
I thought you were going to say give you a new fetish, but...
I've got plenty of those. Fetish? I don't need any more.
Is a fetish a fetish for a fetus? I've
heard both pronunciations.
No, it's a Swedish fetish. It's a Swedish fetish. That's all it is. A fetish.
Oh, I have a fetish for watching a lady on the toilet.
Great.
Okay, Swedish Borat.
Swedish Borat. Oh yeah, very nice.
But today specifically, we're once again talking about the hidden truth.
The hidden
truth. Oh wait,
truth.
sorry, I didn't say it in the voice. The hidden truth. Okay, so we're pretty much done with Chupacabra, right?
Absolutely, we are through with the Chupacabra. The nails are in that coffin. The perfectly triangular quarter-inch nails are circularly in a triangular pair in that coffin.
I didn't sign up for this course. I think my instructor's down the hall.
Sit down and
good
shut
luck
up.
with whatever you're doing here, sir.
You're here now. You can't leave. The door's locked from the other side.
We're also submersed 500 feet below sea level.
If anyone wasn't here last time, I'll just briefly introduce this concept here. The Hidden Truth is a CD-ROM that was released for Amiga, Mac, and PC in 1997. That is literally nothing but a compilation of conspiracy websites that they downloaded off the internet and stuck onto a CD. The result is like an archive of websites old enough that you probably couldn't even find them in the internet archive if you went looking. All about the craziest shit you can possibly think of. And last time we talked about the concept of ufology, and various alien life forms with a large focus, of course, on the Chupacabra. This time, we're going to be talking first here about Cydonia, the moon, and hyperdimensional energy.
Oh,
I feel like Cydonia is somebody's OC, and we should probably not steal it.
Don't worry, they're from Mars. What are they going to do? Their laws don't apply
Martian
to us.
law is different. That's right. I remembered the time that they kidnapped Santa Claus.
Yeah. That was legal under their law.
Every time someone talks about their OC don't steal, I think about what Skitch told me, and this is just endlessly cracks me up that you could just Google any normal given name and add the hedgehog, and you can find someone's OC, like Ryan the Hedgehog is one.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably like 4 Ryan the Hedgehogs.
The last time I did mine, it was a waiter who could throw cards like Gambit, who was also like a hedgehog. So Cydonia, the moon, and hyperdimensional energy. Let me begin by saying Mars, the mysterious red planet, our nearest neighbor, and the only place in the solar system that science has definitively shown evidence that life may once have lived. Not only have we found obvious evidence that there was once water on Mars, but we've even identified ancient microbes that once had begun forming on the planet. However, that's kind of boring in the grand scheme of things, so we're going to talk about Cydonia instead. What exactly is Cydonia? In the words of the Malta UFO group, in 1976, the Viking 1 and 2 orbiters landers reached Mars. Thousands of photographs were taken of the red planet and transmitted to Earth. During one of the press conferences where the photographs were presented to the public, a NASA employee jokingly said that one of the mesas photographed resembled a human face. This was just a trick of light and shadow, he said, as a photo of the same area taken at a later hour did not show anything unusual. And that was that, for the time being. 2 men, Vince DiPietro and Greg Molinar, did not forget about this incident. They found the original frame with the face and cleaned it up with various computer imaging techniques, including one they developed specifically for these images, called Starburst Pixel Interleaving Technique, or SPIT.
I'm sorry, this is already cracking me up that scientist is like, hey, this kind of looks like a face, and 2 people are developing software to prove that it's not a joke.
No, the thing is, I know what they're talking about. It's that face that looks like the bad guys from the TMNT arcade game. The freaking red stone-faced people? Yeah, I know that face. That face owes me $10 for pizza. Fucking Martians.
$10 for delivery to Mars? Fuck that, I'm moving there. That's cheaper than I can get it here.
Jeez, people take this shit so far.
And made another discovery. This was a huge 5-sided pyramid several miles to the southwest of the face. This pyramid is now known as the D&M Pyramid.
Sir, just the words. Oh, I don't even remember how you said it anymore. It just.
This was a huge 5-sided pyramid several miles to the southwest of the face.
Yeah, there we go.
Sounds like a big zit several miles southwest of the face.
So down by the balls.
That was my college band.
I'm talking about my elbow.
In 1983, Richard Hoagland, a former science advisor to Walter Cronkite, read a paper written by DiPietro and Molinar on the face and D&M Pyramid. The saga had begun!
Hooray.
Thanks to these incredible discoveries by DiPietro, Molinar, and Hoagland, what NASA was pretty certain was just a funny shadow on a poor quality photo was now revealed to definitely be just part of an entire complex of intelligently designed structures. What follows are details on the various structures of Cydonia. The face. The face.
The large.
Note the extraordinary detail, including teeth in the mouth and horizontal stripes on the headdress framing the face.
All right, hold on a second. Hold your horses, Ian. This feels cosmically wrong. This is 100% something that Troy McClure would deliver. Note the extraordinary detail, including teeth in the mouth and horizontal stripes on the headdress framing the face.
This monument is some 2.5 kilometers long, 2 kilometers wide, and 400 meters high. The face viewed under various filters.
Wow, that's high.
Wow! How much higher could it have been?
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
So the thing to point out here is if you look at the images that they've provided, they're the lowest quality photos I've ever seen.
Isn't this just like an Andy Warhol painting?
Wait a minute, that's not a face. That's my wife's ultrasound.
Congratulations, it's a Martian.
Congratulations, it's Mars.
You know, as soon as you started talking about this whole face thing, I'm just thinking, oh no, is there going to be like an actual conspiracy about how the man on the moon is actually a real thing?
Yeah, well, there is. It's
We're on
just
Mars.
It's on Mars.
We're on Mars. It has 2 moons, so it's twice as likely to happen there, Tom.
Yeah. You thought it was real on Earth. Well, it's twice as real on Mars.
The only thing that's real is my desire to go back and play Doom 3 now that we're talking about Mars all the fucking time.
So after the face, there's the city. A group of large pyramids to the west of the face. Note the 5 columns/mounds in the exact center of the city.
That's a photograph during someone's colonoscopy. What the fuck?
Okay.
No, it's a city.
You know what it looks like to me? It looks like rocks on Mars.
I mean, yeah, but...
I mean, at least the face looked like a face. This is nothing. You could take literally any photograph of Mars, and it would equally be as compelling evidence for any kind of conspiracy. This is nothing.
But look, they're clearly pyramids. Look at the shadows.
We zoom out, it is slowly revealed that this is just an extreme close-up of Dan Aykroyd's makeup from Nothing But Trouble. Which is a deep cut if anybody is familiar with that awful fucking movie.
I'm slightly familiar. I haven't watched it. I know what you're talking about, sort of.
Just look up Dan Aykroyd Nothing But Trouble. I'll post it. Oh my gosh, Nothing But Trouble. Yep, there it is. Oh gosh. Oh, I forgot how uncomfortable that face. That's the close-up that all of these images are from. Is the smiling, decrepit face of Dan Aykroyd from Nothing But Trouble.
Yeah.
Look at his forehead. There's the city.
Okay, let me put this on.
Notice the teeth.
There's the smile from the face. Oh my God, Dan Aykroyd is on Mars.
Dan Aykroyd is Mr. Creosote.
We are slowly generating our own mythos and becoming a conspiracy podcast. I look forward to the influx of many of thousands of scientifically illiterate people.
Free Copter Greg.
Why do you not have like sweaters people can buy, like on the YouTube videos you post, like buy merch from He Is an Evil Genius? It's a sweater that just says Free Copter Greg.
Because like 6 people know who Copter Greg is.
But you need to dangle the carrot. At the very least, people might just like the design, not knowing what it is.
I would wear a shirt. I don't know who the fuck Copter Greg is, but I would love a shirt that says Free Copter Greg on it.
See?
I have 13,000 subscribers. 6 of them know who Copter Greg is.
Well, it's time that they fucking learned.
Okay, what was the... Okay, we've referenced Copter Greg on this podcast more times than people know about him, so...
And more times than the stream that he was created on.
So I might as well explain. On our bad movie stream that we do every 2 months, we watched... I can't remember which movie was it. Was it Terror in Beverly Hills? I think it was.
It was the one where at the end it looked like a Brazzers porno with like 2 almost naked women being driven away in a pickup truck, I think. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the one that had Copter Greg.
Tell me more about this porno.
There's one scene where these criminals are holed up in this building where they took a bunch of hostages and the police send in everyone they've got. And this helicopter lowers and there's this guy just hanging from the bottom of the helicopter casually, like with one arm. It's his arm's just over like the landing gear. He looks so casual.
He trained his whole life for this moment.
So we nicknamed him Copter Greg, and I don't know why it was so funny, but it kind of was.
I don't even remember the full context, but trust me, Copter Greg is a quality individual who is in desperate need of freeing.
So someone standing at this point and looking eastwards would have seen the sun rising over the face during the summer solstice, showing that the buildings were built with specific celestial alignments in mind, once again confirming their artificiality.
Okay, so
I like looking at the pyramid picture. That's really generously calling that a pyramid. It's much easier to call it a starfish.
I think it'd be much easier to just call it a fucking lump.
I do like how all of the images so far have been actual images of Mars, and then there's this weird... What is this, a 3D rendering? Or is it just someone with like the first version of Photoshop back in the 90s who stuck a mountain on Mars? Like, what are we looking at?
Oh, you mean that sliced off segment of the Martian surface in a perfect, like, 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer?
The big red sphere floating in space with like, okay, in the dock.
What?
Where it
red
says
sphere
the sun,
floating in...
where it says sun rising over the face. Click on that.
Oh, it's my horoscope for today.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, this looks more like it's like should be on a new age site that's about like wellness based in crystals.
Also, geez, digital art, Kynthia, copyright 96. If this is something you made in 96, kudos. You pirated the most expensive software known at the time. That's awesome.
This is like someone took a screenshot of like the Men in Black movie where they had an entire galaxy inside like a small marble, and they're just like selling that marble as some like new age crystal thing that records your dreams.
All right, I'm going to go on one more quick deep cut here. This looks like somebody took a screenshot from the music video for The Hunger.
I know that one.
I know The Hunger Games.
This is in the middle of the transformation sequence when he gets run over and is being reincarnated in Egypt. And the fucking CGI statues are just like barring him entrance and casting him down into the miserable vampire cafe or whatever he ended up in. God, that music video is weird.
We might need to cut down on the deep cuts a little bit if we're gonna get anywhere.
Okay, that's my revenge for you guys going off on your own 5-minute tangents. Now we're even. Let's go.
Okay.
Like, fuck you! The fort, one of the most unusual structures in the whole complex, is a 3-walled enclosure which, due to its shape, has been nicknamed the fort. This may very well be the foundations of a pyramid that was never completed. Or it could be a fucking lump! It's a mound. It's dirt. It's nothing.
If we were approached by the Mars Board of Tourism, I think we would have some important points of improvement to their invitational brochures. They need better pictures than this.
Mars is no dirt planet.
Yeah, tell me about it. The D&M Pyramid, which I've just noticed... There we go. Now it's got a bullet point like it's supposed to.
And over here is the food court. There's the Sabaros.
The Samaros, you mean? Because they're on Mars.
And for some reason on Mars, every 3 blocks, there's a Boston Pizza.
I thought for a minute you were going to say Boston Market.
Oh, God, no. No.
It's always weird to me when someone who's not Canadian references something Canadian to me. I'm always like, you know about that?
I've been married to a Canadian for almost 11 years now.
I know, it's still jarring.
He's like, it's like when you're talking to somebody in Pig Latin around somebody who also understands Pig Latin. They're like, oh no.
The D&M Pyramid is an enormous 5-sided structure. Note the buttresses at each corner, 2 damaged sides on the right, and the bottomless crater.
Okay. It looks like a pretty shallow crater.
Not only that, but if you want to talk about starfish, this looks like a fucking starfish. Or no, you know what, when I first saw this image, what it first conjured to me was a fucking sand dollar.
Yeah.
This is just a sand dollar on Mars.
With the 5-foot deep bottomless pit.
Yeah. The practically bottomless hole from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Just title this episode Obscurity the Reference.
Come on, the Stanley Parable is not that obscure, let's be fair.
I'd like to spend 10 minutes talking about The Last Starfighter, if I may.
I could get more obscure than either of you. No, man, that's not true. You're.
I was gonna say, you want to try me, bro?
UFPs, look at them all. Yeah, unidentified flying potatoes.
So yeah, continuing on with this tourism of Mars.
So I guess this screenshot was taken from one of Jupiter's moons. You know, because it's Io.
Somebody's just celebrating their 10th birthday on Mars.
I like the idea that some advanced intelligence on Mars is just writing binary on the Mars surface.
Yeah, you know. Sometimes you just gotta do this with this, the binary, and the next they're gonna find like 6F for a little bit of hexadecimal.
They're trying to install Doom on the Mars, and they only got 2 numbers before they all died.
The camera is slowly panning out and rotating. This is the very close-up eye and eyebrow of Dick Butt.
Oh my God.
On Mars.
The truth revealed at last.
The truth of Dick Butt revealed. That's the next Fox special.
True Dick Butt Autopsy, hosted by Jonathan Frakes.
Oh, no.
A corruption of Dick Butt.
To the east of the face, there's a 3-kilometer long cliff. Further east is a large crater with three-sided pyramid, or tetrahedron, on the edge. Both structures are thought to be artificial. If they had been there before the meteor impacted to create the crater, they would have been damaged. Therefore, the objects were built after the crater was formed.
Okay. That is a conclusion that someone could come to.
What objects? What are we talking about? The fact that there's like a lump at the edge of the ring? That just means that the goatsy guy needs to see his doctor.
Okay.
Kirk Johnson, wherever you are, I salute you.
I'm looking at more of these images.
And of course, the Tholus. The Tholus. A few miles to the south of the cliff, a hill or mound known as the Tholus forms part of the Cydonia complex. What is so unusual about the Tholus is that it has a spiral ramp circling it like a path to the top. If a vertical line is drawn along the cliff to the top of the Tholus, and another line drawn from the top of the Tholus to the pyramid on the crater's edge, the angle thus formed is 19.5 degrees, an angle found repeatedly throughout the complex.
It is just a hill.
Yeah, but it's a hill with a ramp, and the ramp is a specific degree of angle.
One man's trash, Tom.
Don't you understand?
One man's trash.
Things can only be at a specific angle if they're made that way. What do you think? Angles just happen by accident?
Look, Tom, this might be silly to you, but this is my religion.
This is what I did instead of listening in science class, okay? I wanted to be smart, so instead of making myself smarter by learning, I just negated the actual facts and said that everyone else is wrong.
I feel like Ian might need to be a little deprogrammed after this deep a dive into the conspiracies.
So I know we're pretty deep into this, but what exactly is Cydonia? Like, where's that name come from?
It literally is just the name given by NASA to that region of Mars that these photos are from. That's it. That's all. The Cydonia plain, I believe they refer to it as.
Okay.
If you go to Tube Galore, you must be over 18 to enter, and look up Cydonia. I'm sure you'll find a few videos out there of a particularly exciting nature.
Well, now Steve's
Don't
teasing.
go to Tube Galore. It is just a porn indexer. Don't do it.
Well, believe me, I figured that out.
I'll just...
Stop typing Tom!
Hey boys, my name is Cydonia, and I'm here to show my asshole to you.
Oh my gosh, no, Tom, that is like one of those nightmare texts that I never want to get from a relative. I never want to get a text message from my mom saying, "What does safe search mean?"
I'm using my Oh My Bod right now, and it's vibing to the beat of the X-Files theme.
And your like 3-year-old niece is like, oh, I know how to turn that off.
Okay, but here's...
All right, we're on Mars. Oh, there's more places we can go.
There are, because surprisingly, the Cydonia complex isn't even the only site with signs of intelligently designed structures on Mars.
That's right. Cydonia became so fucking gentrified they had to start a new neighborhood.
And fucking Venusians moved in, and you know, there goes the neighborhood. All the fucking prices go up on everything. UFO experts discovered a couple of other noteworthy sites near Utopia Planitia. The runway and bow tie. This one is one of my favorites. There are other anomalies on Mars besides the structures at Cydonia. One of them, located in the Utopia region halfway around the planet from Cydonia, is featured here and is known as the runway and bow tie. Is the runway some form of magnetic accelerator or railgun?
What?
Is the bow tie a kind of pasta?
I mean, I don't even see a runway and a bow tie. It kind of looks like like dinosaur fossils or something. Like, why is that not the conspiracy theory? Oh, there are dinosaur bones on Mars.
It looks like Xavier buried his drumsticks in the sandbox.
Because dinosaur bones aren't even real, stupid. Dinosaur bones were buried by fucking Men in Black to make people look crazy. But it backfired.
All right, I'm going to go out there and ask about a deprogrammer now.
I just, like, who looks at this picture and says, oh yeah, that's a railgun?
A maniac?
People with imagination.
And an unnamed feature. A location with similar properties to Cydonia Mensae was found by one of the authors, Dr. John Brandenburg, using the Atlas of Mars. In a region of Mars called Utopia Planitia, a long water channel was found called Rad Vallis. This channel runs from the 0-kilometer contour to higher elevations and branches into headwaters near the base of a large volcano called Hecate's Tholus. The base of the mountain is surrounded by cliffs and mesas. At the edge of the cliff line, it meets a smooth plain. The plain shows many marks of water erosion. There is a concentration of unusual surface features found on Viking frame 86A10 and adjoining frames whose latitude is 35 degrees and longitude 212 degrees. Here's an artist's rendering of what the structure probably looks like in person. Have a look, please. Look at the first...
Holy crap! What?
Talking about having an imagination...
All right, so that is a really cracked toilet seat, and that's just the decapitated head from the Stave It Off guy from Homestar Runner.
No, that's clearly the Pharaoh head from the last stage of Monster Party. He's about to go, oh boy, Mark Soup!
Well, he stared at it.
Yeah, and he just diddly off into the sunset. There go the tumbleweeds. Zero's going back.
The weird thing is, after looking at the sketch, I can kind of see it, but like the way I imagine it, the Sphinx head is attached to the structure, and in a way that makes sense, like not like 90 degrees off. I feel like the person who sketched this didn't look at the photograph and just went by a description that the conspiracy nuts told them to draw. And then they're like, okay, I think this is what you mean. And they're like, yeah, perfect.
To me, it's obvious what this is. It's clearly a statue of Yeet and or Boik from Boppin', and it's fallen over and the head has snapped off.
How does Boppin' keep coming up?
I don't know. It's one of my favorite games from growing up, so...
Oh, wow. I never even heard of it until I did a review of it with Russ Scott, and everyone hated it.
However... Mars turns out to be only one stellar body beyond our Earth that contains remnants of some advanced intelligence.
Yeah, I know. I saw that episode of the Magic School Bus.
Oh, the one where the nerd gets frozen to death in space?
Oh, yeah, it's the one where Arnold's, like, sister's like, my class already studied the solar system, and I'm so much better than everybody else, but then I have to take fucking space rocks from every single planet to prove the fact that I was there. And yeah, Arnold gets so annoyed that he takes off his helmet on Pluto. This is the first episode of the show ever made. And they basically almost kill off a main character. It's awesome.
In September 1992, nearly 30 years after man walked on the moon, Richard Hoagland obtained a lunar atlas from NASA and discovered that the romantic orb that lights our night sky is actually covered in the ruins and remnants of crystalline cities and massive glass domes.
What?
Give you a moment for that one to settle in while I drink some water.
Romantic orb.
I just feel like if there actually was like an entire city on Mars, that we would have noticed it a lot earlier.
We're not talking about Mars anymore. Catch up, buddy. This is the moon.
What?
We did just shift. It was recent, Tom. It's okay. You're not that far.
What's more, Hoagland alleged that NASA were aware of these structures since the mid-60s, and they've been covering it up all this time. once again, what follows are details and pictures of these undeniable structures.
Undeniable.
The Ukert Crater. The Ukert Crater, with a perfect 16-mile equilateral triangle within it.
All right.
This crater is located near the center of the moon, as viewed from Earth. At full moon, the triangle can be made out with even a small telescope. Note also the 3 brighter areas on the rim of the crater. If they're connected together with straight lines, another equilateral triangle is formed, resulting in 2 perfectly interlocking triangles.
Yeah, that's a perfect triangle, all right. Okay, okay, I'm gonna do one more deep cut. This looks exactly like the Cheerio that I put up for sale on eBay because it was slightly triangular shaped.
Oh man, we can get money for those?
No, you can't. eBay.
Oh, right.
eBay had a special one day where you could do like a number of listings for free and not pay any fees. So I'm like, I'm just gonna list stupid stuff that nobody's gonna ever buy just for fun. I'm like, here, buy a single Cheerio.
What a dystopia we live in.
The Shard. Sticking up from an otherwise flat, rounded, eroded lunar landscape, the Shard, as it has been named, is 1.5 miles tall. Note the shadow to the left of the Shard. The cross shape above the Shard is a camera registration mark, which do turn up in the most unusual places.
This image is just nothing. Like, I cannot make a single thing out of this. This is like someone took like a picture of that famous Bigfoot picture and just zoomed in on his leg until you can't see anything else and said, here's proof of Bigfoot's leg.
No, it gets I got a better one than that. I can extrapolate this further to make it exactly what this is. Someone took that photo, zoomed in on the leg, then cropped it, sent a little tiny image of that leg to somebody, and then in order to try and find out what it really is, they ran it through an AI upscaler about 3 times.
I don't even know. I can't even process this stuff.
No, it gets better, please. Allow me to mention my favorite. The Mega Cube!
Oh, wait. Oh, no, I didn't go to that website. No, that was TimeCube.
What?
Yeah, this is different.
Yeah, I was going to say, no. This is not deliberately insulting my intelligence within the first 3 lines of me visiting. This is not the same thing.
To the left of the Shard, a faint anomaly was photographed. After printing the negative over and over again at different exposure levels, and analyzing the results with various computer imaging processes, which basically boils down to, I kept fucking with the image until I saw what I wanted to see in it. The anomaly was found to be a massive tower/cube hanging more than 7 miles above the moon.
Wait, above? Like floating in space?
Like something is holding it in place 7 miles above the moon.
So it's made of helium.
Something
I guess
like
that's why all the moon people talk funny.
See, I mean, it's still pseudoscience, but I would have kind of expected when you said we ran it through like 100 different filters. If they had said and all of them came out with the same results, it'd be like, okay, so that's probably where they got the idea something's going on. But it's like we did like 100 until we found something that we can pounce on.
Yeah, that's
or maybe they did 100 at the same time. Where it's like, have you ever tried to do plastic wrap in Photoshop more than 5 or 6 times in a row? Imagine doing that 100 times to an image.
That's kind of what this image looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they look awful.
So, Ian, this picture we're looking at, is this a side view? Because all the other ones we've been looking at have been aerial views. Is that like the cube hovering over the moon? And
I'm assuming
what
it's
is
some
this?
sort of a side view. I mean, you're asking the wrong question. The question, of course, to ask is, what?
Yes, please.
That's all I can tell you is I don't know, because I'm not a lunatic and I don't know what the source really is other than a NASA lunar atlas. from the 60s. So that's another thing to keep in mind here is these are not only photos from the 60s, mind you. They're photos from the 60s taken with equipment sent to space in the 60s that this idiot has run through negative processing about 100,000 times. So
what I'm getting is these have a high potential.
They're pictures of nothing.
No, these pictures have a very high potential to be fucking commies.
Oh my God. We need to alert the media immediately.
It's a Soviet
Johnson has to be informed.
It's a Soviet cube. Like the fucking Borg.
You will be assimilated.
Space
Here in the Space Collective, we are all comrades.
If you're not a good citizen, you get launched into space gulag on the moon.
If you are out of line, we will sick this roving gang of protostars on your ass so fucking fast.
There it is. I was waiting.
Don't worry. Have confidence. I will always bring it up.
Note the highly reflective debris surrounding the structure seemingly embedded in a darker material. This looks very much like reflective crystalline material being held miles above the lunar surface by a framework or matrix of rebar, or reinforcing bars.
Thanks for telling me what it meant.
So I know okay, this is an audio podcast, and I haven't been doing a whole lot to describe these photos, but I want to make it clear that what we are looking at is nothing. This is really like some just black and some white. It's in a random pattern. Like, this could be just a toddler drawing a yin yang. Like,
if you're familiar with any of those, like, you could buy a digital camera at a Walgreens in like 2003. This has like that level of digital clarity.
This looks like you took a picture of a sunset with a Game Boy camera.
Yes.
I was just gonna say that. Although I was gonna say it's like you took a picture of the end of a flashlight in a closet with a Game Boy camera.
They get their photos confused, and one's just one of the Game Boy camera pictures the James Rolfe did when they covered that. She's a big old angry. That's the other face on Mars. Then
AVGN's face is on Mars.
God, what a weird headcanon develops. Go ahead.
All right.
God, I fucking hate Mars. There's nothing to breathe up here. I'd rather have a buffalo take a fucking diarrhea donkey dump all over my grandma.
You know what's bull? Anyway.
I'll put it out there. Listen. It's not that I don't like James Rolfe. I'm sure he's a fine guy. Yeah. I just don't like the AVGN character. I'm sorry. Some people are really into it. I never got it.
You don't need
It just seemed like a guy screaming nonsense at a camera for 20 minutes.
It's okay, man. You're fine.
I like him fine, but yeah, there's definitely stuff we can poke fun at with him. Like, and I'm sure he wouldn't even care. Like, he seems to have a good...
he wouldn't care. He's part of the Mars conspiracy.
Yeah. That's why he hasn't invited me to be in a fucking Pepsi Super Bowl commercial yet. Because he knows I know the truth.
About Space Gulag.
Yeah. AVGN Space Gulag Mega Cube on the moon.
What fucking search results are gonna get us?
Yeah,
there's an AI going through this
Google
episode
metrics
and recording.
On this fucking wiki.
Oh my gosh. This is one way to completely throw off any kind of AdSense suggestion.
No, that's what I was just going to say. There's an AI going through this podcast and recording every word we're saying, trying to figure out what to advertise to people who listen to it. And it's just going to explode, and a piece of paper is going to spool out that says Patrazebi or something.
Patrazebi. That is either my favorite 80s band or my favorite obscure type of pasta. Take your pick.
That's a reference to Mad Magazine.
Well, that's also good.
No, you query the computer and it starts spouting out a super racist Star Trek novel about Spock. Because that's what this show was.
Spock gets blacked.
Oh.
The Castle! On enlarging one of the small reflective specks in frame 4822, taken during the manned Apollo 10 mission. I want to fucking cover this again. On enlarging one of these small reflective specks, enlarging part of a photo, which is not going to magically add more detail, it's just going to make it bigger and blurrier, of a small reflective speck.
You know what this is? This is the opposite of, like, the CSI scene where they keep saying enhance.
Yeah, this is what would actually happen if they tried that in real life. Wait, that small reflective speck there, enhance. Sir, it appears to be a blob.
No, it's too clear. Unenhance. Unenhance. Just get more
Rub
grainy.
more Vaseline on the camera lens.
It's like, yes, that's the killer.
Shout outs to my early internet pirates. This looks like a screen cap from one of those telesync releases you download from Scour in 2000.
It's Lord Deathman.
It like the bottom part is the audience and you can see part of the screen and it's just the worst visible quality known to man.
Actually, wait, I see here in this picture, follow me on this, I see to the bottom right, I see the Trident logo from Heretic, and then directly up and left from there, I see a unicorn sock puppet.
Well, this really is a nerd Rorschach, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it sure is.
I see like a skeletal hand and a mostly obscured skull over it.
You know what? I'm gonna Photoshop what I see. Let's. I'll spare the words and do my work.
So anyways, I'll finish reading this out. So enlarging one of the small reflective specks in frame 4822 taken during the manned Apollo 10 mission, a stunningly complex object is revealed. Nicknamed the Castle due to its shape.
You know what really is bothering me here is it said frame 4822. That means they went through over 4,800 photos taken from the Mars mission.
Mm-hmm.
And they selectively picked out, like...
This is the moon, you're forgetting.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, there's over 4,800 pictures taken, and they selectively picked 4 or 7 or whatever, and they ran it through 100 filters until they found something that they could say is something, and it's still nothing.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to this bullshit. Nicknamed the Castle due to its shape, this object is suspended miles above the lunar surface. A close-up reveals a drooping cable from which the object hangs.
So how much of this are they, like, paraphrasing from what the, what NASA said, and how much of it is just them making things up?
Oh, none of this comes from what NASA said. This is from Richard Hoagland, who just happened to get his hands on NASA photos.
Like, where does he get the object is suspended miles above the surface? Like, is that... What?
That's from his observations of the shapes and whatever, apparently. I don't fucking know.
All right, there. I posted what it looked like to me.
That wasn't the image we were looking at, but it is a good one.
Look, you guys, like, moved on from what I was talking about, all right?
The Bridge Tower Connection. The Bridge Tower Connection on frame 4822 looks remarkably like a lunar bridge, complete with a series of right-angle brackets, parallel couplings, and a box-like framework suspended from the span.
It looks remarkably like nothing!
If a bridge looked like this, I would not be going across it. It does not look safe. There are lines here, but they're not even, like, all straight. Like, if you look at this thing and really try to picture, like, you're looking at the side of a bridge or something, I mean, look at the bottom. It like, there's a straight line, and then it just ends abruptly, and then there's another line down from it. So, like,
okay, so
what use is that?
What we're looking at here, I don't even know how to describe this, but it's like mostly gray. I should mention these are all black and white photos, and I don't mean just like grayscale. I mean like the color black and the color white, with like maybe one gray.
Usually with very little features to discern between.
And like a lot of the other ones we've looked at, there'd be like something prominently shown in bright white against a very dark background. This one is just black shapes in an array of
like grayish stepling.
Like, yeah. Like this looks like someone dragged their fingers through sand and then took a picture of it with a black and white camera on the beach with a Game Boy camera again. This it's just like three grooves that kind of turn lumpy. Like this is nothing.
So then there's the spire. A photograph of the Mercrisium reveals several anomalies. Note the glowing 20-mile-high spire on the left of the photo and the sparkling mini dome over the crater Picard. 20-mile-high glowing spire on the moon. I'm pretty sure you could see that with the naked fucking eye. That's massive.
Yeah, I was...
And if it stays that way for more than 4 hours, you better call a doctor.
If your moon spire lasts more than 4 hours, consult a physician.
Now I'm actually imagining someone calling a doctor and saying, I can see a glowing spire on the moon that's 20 miles
the
tall.
Moon's been hard for more than 4 hours.
Cindy, cancel my appointments. I have to go.
The doctor would have a lot of questions, but not about the spire. I was going to say what on earth, but clearly it's not.
And I like that he says the sparkling mini dome over the crater Picard. And if you look, it's like, I can't even tell what it's referring to. If it's the dot that's right next to it in this image, then that's just a fucking dot. Or if it's the thing in the bottom right, then that's just a slightly curved line. It looks like the edge of a fucking crater.
Remember the movie Robot Monster?
With Roman, the greatest monster design in movie history.
With the delay, it's also just so achingly close how often we come to making headway, and then it just collapses.
I actually wasn't going to go any further than that. I just wanted to say, hey, remember Robot Monster, and then just move on.
We're all guilty of it. I'm not blaming anyone. Every single one of us is guilty of it, but it's astounding the frequency.
Well, if we just read the document, it wouldn't be as interesting, I think. So, you know.
Yeah.
Pete, what are you talking about? Ian, what are you talking about? The people pay us for the serious conspiracy theories you present on this well-formatted show.
Nobody
pays
pays for this.
I was going to say, where's my fucking
Don't
paycheck?
tell anyone that entire sentence was a lie.
Wait a minute.
So it's Steve's getting money from somewhere?
But Stevo, we just got now to the image that you photoshopped earlier. Did you Photoshop back in time?
I might have,
God.
but I also might have accidentally clicked later on and then scrolled back up.
So you just posted it too early.
Oh, well. Well, now you can see it.
You got to do what the Terminator did and build yourself into the wall until it's ready. Go on, Ian. I'm sorry.
This may be a photograph of the extraordinary glass dome covering the region of the moon known as Sinus Medii. It was taken by the unmanned Surveyor 6 on November 24th, 1967, 1 hour after sunset. Note the glowing beads all along the visible horizon and the highly structured, semi-transparent material showing up, high above the lunar surface. NASA's explanation: forward scattered light caused by small elevated particles of lunar dust scattering sunlight from beyond the visible horizon. Wrong! Wrong! An immense glass-like structure arching over Sinus Medii, focusing and bending light over the horizon.
I want to be clear that the word wrong was actually on the website, not just Ian's commentary.
Yeah, that they actually...
I think it says, here's NASA's explanation, and then it just says wrong.
They have the fucking balls to just tell NASA they're full of shit.
Oh, man. Remember when Buzz Aldrin punched that guy? Mm.
Yeah, I do, and I think he should have done it more than once.
Yeah.
That was a good day.
NASA doesn't have enough people getting punched, does it?
Specifically,
space exploration would be just as entertaining as hockey if you added fighting.
If anyone here doesn't know the story behind what the hell we're talking about there, Buzz Aldrin was being hounded by this, like, anti-moon landing conspiracy nut. This guy was, like, following him, like, across the country, I believe, to, like, every appearance he went to. And he kept, like, insisting, like, come on, admit it was fake. And finally, at this last straw thing, he pulls out a fucking Bible and shoves it at Buzz Aldrin and says, swear on this Bible that you landed on the moon. And Buzz Aldrin just fucking reeled back, this, like, 60, 70-year-old man, and just decks this fucker, knocks him on his ass with one punch.
Oh, I thought the twist was going to be that he punched the Bible.
He punched through the Bible into his face.
Very kung pao.
And then he said to him, "You're already dead."
That's like his stomach plug on the ground over there. Like, I'm no doctor or anything, but it was like one clean chunk.
Buzz Aldrin might be in his, like, I don't know how old he is now, but...
He's old. If he's still alive. I don't even know if he's still alive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still alive. But yeah, you gotta be fit to go on a space mission. So I totally believe that he could deck someone a third his age.
He is a spry 93 years old.
Good for him.
Well, happy birthday,
that is fantastic.
Buzz.
Hey, I'm as tall as he is.
Oh, you could go to the moon.
Holy shit. Wait a minute. Hold on. I know. We have lots to get through. But yeah, Buzz is a cool nickname, but his other nickname is way cooler and nobody uses it. Why doesn't anybody call him Dr. Rendezvous?
Whoa, that is badass.
Is he a male prostitute as well?
No, it sounds like he writes a fucking like a relationship column in Vogue. He's Dr. Rendezvous.
Anytime that you go out on a moonlit night and look up and enjoy that beautiful romantic sight, you're welcome. Wait, what, Buzz? What are you?
Dear Dr. Rendezvous, I feel like the passion is out of our relationship. I can't seem to get through to him. He's like, deck him.
Do you see how easily Copter Greg could be made? Do you see?
Yeah, you could also have a Dear Dr. Rendezvous t-shirt with Buzz Aldrin on it.
That's gotta be Buzz Aldrin punching through a Bible at somebody.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sell t-shirts of Buzz Aldrin punching a guy through a Bible, and it says Dr. Rendezvous underneath.
Yes! I'll take two.
It's better if we don't explain it.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree.
All the best t-shirts are best unexplained.
Like the picture of the gray that says mummy.
Damn it, I tried to get AI to generate it, but it says, I'm sorry, I can't assist with that. It's important to respect all individuals and their beliefs.
Wow.
So the Bible's gotta go.
Soviet lunar dome. Soviet example of a lunar dome? This photo taken by the Soviet Zond 3 unmanned spacecraft July 20th, 1965, was taken on the far side of the moon. Did this photo and other similar ones cause the sudden cancellation of a manned Soviet circumlunar mission only 3 years later? Period? That sounds like it should be a question, but it ends with a period. The structure rises 10 miles above the lunar limb.
Somebody took a Game Boy camera and took a close-up of their uncle's nostrils.
Is this the one I'm thinking of? I haven't looked at the photo myself. Yes, this is the one where I took this into Paint Shop Pro and I traced it, and all this shape became was a fucking ghost. This is not a moon photo, you idiots. It says paranormal photo. This is proof of ghosts on the moon.
That's even better.
So not only did Hoagland discover this very clear and totally irrefutable evidence of a massive glass megastructures looming miles above the lunar surface, but by 1996 he had amassed a substantial amount of evidence that NASA was actively covering up the existence of ruins on the moon. On March 21st, 1996, he called a press conference.
Hold on. No. I hate to interrupt, but actively covering it up. So they send somebody up there to start sweeping it over?
Yeah.
Okay, here's
seriously, that's awesome.
Here's my
That's what
thoughts.
Buzz Aldrin was doing.
How would NASA even cover it up? And I mean, like you're talking about like 20-mile tall structures floating over the moon. Like, what exactly is NASA doing to prevent us from seeing it? Building like a giant dome over the Earth so that we can't see the moon?
The moment the next new moon shows up, NASA goes, all right, boys, nobody's looking. Pull the tarp over it.
Here's the part that gets me. These are pictures that NASA took and released to the public. And they're like, see, they're covering up the truth by revealing it to them.
Well, yeah, but it's like one of those things where it's the opposite of a lie by omission. It's a lie by too much damn information. Listen, they've got thousands and thousands of frames of just pictures of the moon. They didn't expect anyone to actually go through one by one. Just the exasperated sigh from Tom.
I mean, you
sigh
can't.
that just goes.
It's okay, Tom. Just think about how much money you're going to make as soon as those t-shirts start selling.
On March 21st, 1996, he called...
Steph, I need you to draw Buzz Aldrin punching a man through a Bible. We're gonna sell t-shirts. We're gonna buy a new house.
I've never asked for anything before from you, Tom, but I want you to isolate what you just said and open the episode with that. No pretext, no explanation. Just start with that and then start the episode, please.
I agree.
Okay.
He called a press conference to reveal his discovery to the country and, of course, the entire world. However, unfortunately, the U.S. press blacked out this press conference. No major news network such as C-SPAN, CNN, NBC, or ABC broadcast this live as had been expected. Others simply ridiculed Hoagland in the 30-second soundbite at the bottom of the hour news programs.
I love that he expected that all the major news networks would cover him.
I'm calling this press conference to say that NASA are a bunch of lying dickholes because they're hiding the lunar domes from us. Why is nobody listening to me? I said as I screamed on the subway platform in my piss-filled pants.
I'm just going to step over here now. All right, that's
I
better.
know I'm not supposed to comment on chat, but my wife entered the chat just to say, what did you say about punching a Bible?
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Tom's going to go to bed tonight with a terminal case of the giggles. I'm sorry, Steph. I'm super sorry.
It's funny how no matter how loud I yell while doing this podcast that I never wake up my daughter, but but my wife still manages to make out more than half of what I said from downstairs.
Regardless of this positively monstrous treatment, Hoagland still bravely went on with his conference, spewing his very factual non-nonsense. The following points are the highlights of this information. Blow-up part of Apollo 10 frame 4822 AS-10-32-4822 of an enormous, quote, specular reflection, unquote, of the sun from a mile-sized sheet of glass.
I'm going to let anyone listening imagine what this photo looks like because you are correct.
Well, now I have to. Oh.
If you guessed that it looks like if you took a stock photo of brushed aluminum and then cranked brightness and contrast to maximum in Photoshop on it, you've got it.
The point I was arriving at is, once again...
It's a spectrogram analysis of a fart.
Like, once again, it looks like nothing.
I feel like when you read off that friggin' serial number that you activated my secret programming.
So now you believe.
I was gonna say,
Welcome
Tom, wake
into the
up, our
fold.
sleeper cells are activating.
9, Riker, Alpha.
Now the AI,
Buzzcard.
the AI that's taking down all the words here is just contacting the CIA now.
Must kill Buzz Aldrin.
Frame 4822 is a mystery frame since Hoagland has at least 10 different versions of this frame. Oh my god, on the photo catalogs, this frame appears blacked out. NASA seems to have hidden a whole sequence of images by giving them the same frame number. Oh my
Standard
gosh!
definition, director's cut, widescreen, the Betamax, DVD, Blu-ray release, 4K upscale.
Forgot Laserdisc!
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just still trying to understand this. So NASA released 10 different photos with the same frame number, and some of them are mostly
Apparently.
black. I have no idea what weird conclusion you could come from that, but this is an interesting
That
one.
they're covering it up. The frame that he can see is the only copy that you can see the truth in. The rest have been blacked out to hide the information.
Well, why would they release the blacked out photo and just not release the photo?
Don't put your fucking high school degree knowledge into this. I did a lot of research by reading sites on the internet, and that means I'm smart.
If you were so smart, how come you're not on Mars?
Fuck!
I want to go on a conspiracy podcast now and just be like, if you're so smart, how come you're not on Mars?
A photograph of
It's such a dick move.
A photograph of astronaut Alan Bean shows the photographer Pete Conrad reflected in Bean's helmet visor. Also reflected in the visor is a geometric object hanging several feet above the lunar surface. Also visible is a shadow created by this...
Okay, this photograph actually looks like something. Like, we made it. we got to an actual photograph of a thing.
Yeah, there's actually a photo of a guy in a spacesuit. And there's a smudge on his visor.
Yeah, so what we're looking at is a close-up on a space helmet. There's a crosshair in the middle. There's another astronaut seen a little bit in the distance. And there's something reflected in his visor. It could be like just reflection of the sun. They're on the moon, which is super reflective. It could be part of the moonlander.
It could be a party boat, and the thing that the other astronaut has is a boombox.
You're all wrong. Let me post in the Wiki Sift thing here. Listen, I did my own research, which means that I'm smarter than all scientists on Earth. Here is, of course, an isolation of the Helmetla man, as I call him, after the name of the file, okay? Here it is blown up by an AI and enhanced. And now if we use this technique I call tracing, we can make out that this is not a structure reflected in his helmet, but an alien being.
He is about to drop some sick rhymes.
Yeah, he is.
So Ian has taken a close-up of this picture and zoomed in, and then drawn it as a ghost. And this is adorable, actually.
Yeah, he's adorable. I love him.
He's like a sidekick to alien hominid.
We need a t-shirt with the...
We need to give him a name like Schmermy or...
Host a contest. Have the thing be named.
Yeah,
Maybe your name can be on the t-shirt of the Helmetla Man.
Okay, so the file name is Helmet LA. Helmetla Man.
Also reflected in the visor is a geometric object hanging several feet above the lunar surface. Yeah, that's the other thing, is that this little reflection guy is like mid-air. So he's just like done a jump and he's going like, wee!
But I can't not see the Ghost Man now. It's so good.
I know! Ever since I saw it, I was like...
He just looks like he's sitting on an invisible lazy boy holding a Coke and just floating in the air.
Also visible is the shadow created by this object. The object seems to be suspended in a grid of surrounding glass-like structure.
What?
That's
just compression on the photo.
Yeah,
it's artifacts.
It is just compression artifacts that have come out because of processing.
That's nothing.
But Richard Hoagland is an idiot, so Apollo 14 astronaut Ed Mitchell is putting up the TV camera at Fra Mauro, ... apparently oblivious to a highly complex 3D glass structure arching overhead.
As opposed to a 2D glass structure.
Gee, I wonder why the astronaut who is right there might have been oblivious to the thing that you can clearly see. I wonder which one of you is a more reliable narrator in this.
Maybe because he's not looking at it. It's like if you were watching a horror movie and the killer is sneaking up behind someone and you're like, how does he not see the guy coming? Because he's facing the other way?
That is kind of a fun trope in movies, how like someone is supposed to be far away, but they're in frame in the camera, and the camera's showing such a tight close-up. So in order for them to even be in the frame, they have to be like 2 feet away from the person, and they just don't see him.
Yeah.
Movies are fun.
And then Apollo 12 astronaut Alan Bean can be seen carrying an ALSEP science package to its deployment site. In the distance, the lunar module Intrepid is visible. On further enhancement, a photographic artifact, a lens glare, can be seen framing the astronaut. However, note the sparkling, highly geometric material clearly visible all over the sky in this version of the photo, aka fucking glare on the lens. These people don't understand that cameras are not human eyeballs. They don't work the same way. They pick up shit that isn't there because they're not the same thing. Also, these photos were taken in fucking space in the 60s. What the hell kind of quality do you think you're gonna get?
Like a paint shop.
Now, dropping the snarky true believer facade for a moment, I'd like to say that I was also going to include information from this site regarding the Clementine probe sent into space by the Pentagon's BMDO, or Ballistic Missile Defense Organization, meant to test the latest in off-the-shelf military imaging technology by extensively mapping the moon before doing a flyby of an Earth-crossing asteroid known as 1620 Geographos, which the Malta UFO group reported that NASA claimed they would upload the entire results of 2 million JPEGs amounting to 400 gigabytes on 1994 internet, and then suddenly reneged on with only a single near-infrared image leaking to the internet and 99.99995% of the pictures remaining wholly unavailable. However, one of the pages they linked elsewhere on the website has a much, much funnier take on this information.
They recorded over it accidentally with porn.
The official website of Professor Stanton T. Friedman, who despite his demented gaze, is a nuclear physicist who had worked for several companies and a number of classified R&D projects.
Oh, he looks delightfully eccentric.
No, Professor, smile with your eyes.
No, that's fine. You know what? I actually like that. That's okay. That's character.
He looks like the guy that would be in the horror movie who you would assume is like he's helping the protagonist throughout most of the movie, but at the very end, it turns out he's really the crazy one and he kills him.
Oof.
He looks very stereotypically a professor. He's got like a thick beard for like the 80s or whatever, before people went like super bushy. A mustache. He's got like those like 80s glasses, but not quite as thick. If I went to college, I would have had 3 of this guy.
Basically, you remember Indiana Jones's friend with the fez who was like,
yeah,
Indiana Jones, I'm gonna help you. He's that guy, except he's a professor in this.
Yeah, that's pretty apt.
So, his website mentions Hoagland's press conference and the way he claimed that Clementine data was being intentionally withheld from the public as part of a cover-up. And I do want to point out, nobody made it, and nobody even, like, gasped at this, at how stupid this was. The Malta UFO group claimed that NASA was going to upload 400 gigabytes of data to the internet in 1994. Who the fuck in 1994, as an end user, could even store a 1/10 of that on their computer?
Yeah. NASA would have paid thousands of dollars to their ISP just uploading that.
Yeah, no shit.
And it would have taken 3 years uninterrupted.
So anyways, this is what he had to say on the subject. I did a lot of checking on Clementine, a DoD high-tech satellite which took more than 1.8 million lunar images from its elliptical polar orbit. These are available on 88 CD-ROMs. Articles have been published in scientific literature. There is a load of stuff on the World Wide Web. Scientists will be busy for at least 5 years analyzing the information from almost a dozen sensors. The resolution is not as good as that of the Apollo cameras, but certainly provides interesting data, especially about a South Pole area that is a deep basin in perpetual darkness and possibly containing frozen water. I could find no basis for Richard's claims that the unclassified Brookings Institute report of 1960 established NASA's space exploration policy. As pointed out by Michael Lindemann, Richard makes no mention of a 1968 NASA report noting over 500 lunar anomalies. It would be nice if people making extraordinary claims would back them up with extraordinary evidence.
Yeah, but that requires extraordinary effort.
Stevo cutting it to the quick.
Well, here's the thing. He obviously did spend extraordinary effort, just not in anywhere that was productive.
Right. Of course, despite supporting the notion that Hoagland is a pseudoscientific fraud, Friedman was also the first civilian to investigate the Roswell incident's crash site, which he vehemently believed was a UFO, and he seemed to harbor a jealous hatred for former classmate and much better known scientific mind Carl Sagan, so his opinions on most other things should probably be taken with a grain of salt.
Grain. Bag. Barrel.
Okay, so I feel like this is kind of a private joke for us, but Ian has put the picture of the professor in a Civilization text box. SimCity. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I played Civilization and it rings true for that for me. But yeah, you can't cut back on UFO research funding. You will regret this.
It was actually one of my Twitch viewers, Phantom Beta, put that together, but, I tossed it in here because that's too good not to use.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Returning to the shtick, there are elements between the Mars and Moon sites that contain a number of congruous elements, namely the repeated usage of equilateral triangles, the frequent usage of 19.5-degree angles, and the repeated usage of mathematical constants such as E and pi,
man,
which SETI once stated would be the easiest...
I remember my congruence the night I got married.
What?
Just continue.
The sexual congruence you had with your wife? What?
Keep going.
You were studying calculus during your honeymoon, or what?
I was a good student.
On your honeymoon?
All right, let's save that. Okay, the honeymoon talk is like another 30-minute discussion, so I'll reserve that for another day.
Okay, forget it. Forget it!
I'm not going to forget it. I'll remember.
Mathematical constants, which SETI once stated...
We'll do it live!
Which SETI once stated would be the easiest way to demonstrate intelligence across linguistic and cultural barriers. This was not only indicative of the intelligent origins of these structures, but also revealed a secret message that would shake the scientific establishment to its very core. Errol Torren, a former Defense Mapping Agency employee and a member of Richard Hoagland's Mars mission team, had discovered an entirely new kind of physics. Hyperdimensional physics!
That sounds completely related to everything we've been discussing so far.
Oh, you'll find out, don't worry.
Okay, so there was some stuff in there that actually was kind of interesting and valid, that, like, the repeat usage of mathematical constants would be the easiest way to demonstrate intelligence. I just don't know, why is a 19.5 degree angle a mathematical constant that is interesting? Like,
well, listen, you'll find out. Just be patient.
okay.
Simmer down. Torren found coded in the internal apex angles of the five-sided structure known as the D&M pyramid a series of highly specific, highly redundant mathematical constants and expressions. Further, he discovered these relationships expressed in at least three ways: in the angle ratios of the D&M internal angles, e.g. 60 degrees divided by 69.4 degrees equals E divided by pi equals 0.865. In the trigonometric functions of those same angles, sine 60 degrees equals E divided by pi equals 0.865, and in the radian measure expressed by a single base angle in the object, 49.6 degrees equals E divided by pi radians. The D&M pyramid's internal measurements had now become the Rosetta Stone of Cydonia, as Richard Hoagland discovered that most of these angles were constantly repeated throughout the whole Cydonia complex. The face, city, Tholis, cliff, and D&M pyramid all formed part of a complex design which incorporated a number of significant and redundant figures and angles. Now, of course, being neither a mathematician nor a lunatic, I find this rather hard to wrap my head around. What exactly do all these figures and angles mean? A summary of how Hoagland described it in his book, The Monuments of Mars. Place an imaginary tetrahedron, a pyramid with four surfaces, each of which are equilateral triangles, inside a sphere, e.g. a planet, with one vertex touching the north or south pole, and the other three vertices will rest at 19.5 degrees north or south latitude at 120 degree intervals around the sphere. Now rotate the sphere at a high rate of speed and something strange occurs. You get an upwelling of energy from within the sphere, seemingly coming from nowhere, that produces different visual effects depending on what your sphere is made up of. For example, if your sphere is made up of magma, molten rock, and a thin surface crust of solid rock, you get a volcanic upwelling at roughly 19.5 degrees north or south latitude. With examples of this phenomenon apparently visible on nearly every planet in our solar system, ranging from volcanoes in Hawaii at 19.6 degrees north and Olympus Mons on Mars at 19.3 degrees north, to the Great Red Spot on Jupiter at roughly 19.5 degrees south. I am unaware of how hyperdimensional physics innately know how to match up to human measurements of longitude and latitude on celestial bodies. It's clear to see that this is definitely happening. However, the question remains, where exactly is this seemingly infinite free source of energy coming from?
Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm stupid, but are we saying that inside different planets are giant tetrahedrons and that's what's causing volcanoes? Or I understand he's just trying to create an example to explain a mathematical concept, but
I think he genuinely believes that there is some sort of tetrahedron inside of these bodies, but it exists in one of the 20-some different dimensions higher than the third dimension that we operate in.
Oh boy.
Allow me to continue, and I'll explain further here. Hoagland thinks that this energy is stored in a higher dimension than ours. Mathematicians currently accept that there may be as much as 27 other higher dimensions, and that this energy cascades down and emerges into our dimension at the 19.5 degree latitude on rotating spherical liquid bodies. Planets!
What?
I don't think that's what most mathematicians think.
I had someone I knew end up going off the deep end and started ranting about how gravity was an inverse concept and how the Earth was hollow, and this is very similar.
The ability to harness this hyperdimensional energy would have an immeasurable impact on the future of humanity, including no fossil or nuclear fuels. No country would need to depend on another country to supply its oil. No control over the price of oil and energy. Hyperdimensional energy is free. No power stations, no petrol, gas stations, no electricity grid, no pollution, accessible to everyone around the world, unlimited possibilities. Think of everything that works with electricity and imagine what it would be like if you don't have to worry about the bill at the end of each month.
Oh my gosh, imagine how many vibrators I could turn on at the same time.
I was gonna say, imagine how many hair dryers I could have running at once.
Oh no, you
not to use them, just to turn them on and go, look!
There are two schools of thought. It's amazing what we
inside of you, there are two... Inside of you, there are two users of hyperdimensional energy. One that would turn on multiple vibrators, and one that would turn on multiple hair dryers.
No, but this actually raises a pretty interesting point. I mean, think of how many things we could accomplish if we could tap into Galactus's cosmic energy. Like, that makes as much sense as what he's saying.
Think about how much we could accomplish if we could gather the 7 Dragon Balls and wish for infinite energy.
Yes!
Think about how sexy it could be to tap into Galactus's cosmic energy.
Ooh.
Ooh. How many vibrators do you think that Galactus could handle?
Boom, boom, boom.
And of course,
I've had my moment.
No, your moment was fine.
We're missing out on space flight. What spaceships would we build if we had access to hyperdimensional energy? Maybe someone has already built them before us. UFOs. Oh my God.
Don't you guys realize that all of our problems would be solved if we used an energy that I just thought of?
An energy that I just thought of and apparently exists, but we literally have no information on, say, where it comes from or how in the fuck you would harness it. And also, it's coming out of the earth inside of a volcano, so good fucking luck getting through the fucking magma.
I'm just... Okay, so let's review a little bit. So there's a bunch of funny-shaped rocks on Mars and weird, like, lines on the moon that might potentially be structures. And if so, hyperdimensional energy. Like, I don't think there was a line from point A to point B. It was just point A and then immediately point B. Like,
no.
The line do not connect.
The line you're forgetting here is that they said that looking at the angles in those structures, quote unquote, resulted in the constant repetition of 19.5, but also the values of E and pi, meaning, mathematical constants like SETI said. So therefore, they have to be trying to communicate something to us through this math. So we did the math, and then the insane jump happens to, hyperdimensional energy, of course.
I need someone who's like an expert mathematician to explain to me why this is stupid, because I'm very lost.
Tom, basically you were right in your assumption there, but instead of jumping from A to like B, it went A, B, and then jumped straight to Z. With many steps missing. Anyhow, this of course explains perfectly why
How's everyone doing?
This explains perfectly why the establishment and credible scientists have done everything they could to ridicule and ignore the findings of Richard Hoagland and his Mars mission. As stated by the Multi-UFO Group, these factors may be the reason why no one wants to listen to Hoagland. Imagine what would happen to Saudi Arabia and the other OPEC countries when they find that their black gold has been turned into black useless muck overnight because hyperdimensional energy would replace plastic.
That was a perfect description of all of these photographs. Black useless muck.
Imagine the loss of government income and control that would result if every single household had the ability to generate electricity without being connected to the national grid. Which, of course, is why the government has made
government income? The government gets money from taxes, and taxes come from people.
Enough of your nonsensical facts. Anyways, this is, of course, why the government has made solar panels illegal. Oh, wait. You see, that's where this fucking argument falls apart. The government's stopping us from hyperdimensional energy because they don't want us to be able to get our own free energy. Okay, well then why don't they outlaw solar panels? Because they do the same thing, but with actual science instead of crazy, wacky, cuckoo, nutty shit. You install solar panels on your house and the fucking electric company has to pay you for the extra electricity that you send back down the line.
But what if wind farms use up all the wind?
Wind farms are slowing down the rotation of the earth, you dumbasses. God.
If we pointed all of the fans, all of the wind turbines in the world in one direction, we could spin the earth even faster.
And what if we plugged in all of the fans on Earth and pointed them right at the wind turbines and used the electricity they're generating to generate more electricity? Infinite energy. This is what these people sound like, except they don't think it's a joke. We have a final segment here.
I don't know if we're gonna have time for this. We've been running for a while and we've still got like this entire section to do. I think this might have to be a 3-parter.
You took us on a literal journey today, Ian. I don't know how I feel. I feel kind of violated.
Oh, that's just the hyperdimensional energy trying to actualize itself within you.
Oh, great. So the hyperdimensional energy also has to do consent.
We could take a break, do some more like Star Trek or whatever the fuck, and just like come back to this for the Branton stuff because
Is this what you guys planned? You wanted to get me so sick of Star Trek, and then you wanted me to Stockholm Syndrome Star Trek? Grind me down with a third of a year's worth of episodes about fucking conspiracies? Make me beg for that roving band of protostars?
I didn't expect it would take this long. I wasn't considering all the pauses we have to take. I was just thinking, like, I could read through this all in like 2.5 hours.
You have to stop and think, am I going to be allowed to be a professional about this? It's not whether I can be, it's whether I'm going to be allowed to be.
The answer to that's always going to be no on this show. So.
Oh, abs. Well, I look forward to getting my 10% of those sweet new merch sales.
Absolutely.
Please have Steph draft a couple of images. Honestly, if Steph drafts even like one, I will be impressed. Even if it's as a joke, even if it's on like a napkin. In fact, I think that would be better. On the sweaters, have a picture taken of a napkin with a drawing of Buzz Aldrin. I'm sorry, Dr. Rendezvous punching through a Bible and hitting a heckler square in the jaw.
But the photo has to have been taken with a Game Boy camera. In the dark, in a closet.
That's how people will know what it is.
And then in 30 years' time, we'll find that on some guy's conspiracy site, and he'll say, you see here, this photo demonstrates where the clear lines for the runway of the landing pad for the UFOs is right here on the moon.
So in Buck Rogers in the 25th century, they will dig up and listen to the entirety of Wiki Sift.
I think at that point, we'll be like a religion to these people. They will worship our voices on the holotapes they find.
Please don't worship my voice.
The Wiki Sift cargo cult of 25th century is born! Bow before me!
That's just one of those shower thoughts that just kind of keeps me up at night. Is the only reason I still have, like, currently consciousness is because my brain is being preserved as part of a religious observance. Are all of my memories being replayed in front of an audience? Is this what you've done to me, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you knew.
Isn't that what you said you wanted?
Maybe my PDF was missing a couple of pages.
Listen, I'm just saying this is because we've put the tetrahedron inside of you and spun it at a high speed.
We're at Return of the King territory. Time for the final fade out and the credits to roll.
There's trouble in the Shire, JRR.
JRR coolly loaded his shotgun and said, let's go.
Oh shit, here comes Dr. Rendezvous.
I want to clarify that really quick. Before we do the fade out, I just have one last bit I need to fit in here, and that's that I've been making for years. And note that this goes back before I saw any Lord of the Rings movies. I said, my perfect alternate ending to the Lord of the Rings would be they're all celebrating after the ring has been thrown into the volcano, and then it fades to the typewriter, and we pan back and it's J.R.R. Tolkien typing the end of the book. And suddenly, there's a knock at the door. He answers it. It's Gandalf. And he says, there's trouble in the Shire, J.R.R. And we pan over, and Falkor from the Never-Ending Story is waiting there outside. And so we end with J.R.R. Tolkien riding on Falkor's back going, yeah! Yeah!
And then Griswold turns to the camera and says, can you prove that it didn't happen?
And the credits roll to the Never-Ending Story theme. That's all I got.
That's it for today. Thanks everyone for listening. Please review us and whatever you're listening to us on. It doesn't have to be a good review, and by all means,
and by all
shouldn't
accounts,
be.
if you've listened this far into the episode, it absolutely won't be.
If you're not sure what to say, just say. What do we say to all of this?
Oh,
just say.
Oh, that actually turned out pretty cool. There's Gandalf in military gear riding on Falkor.
These guys are a bunch of sad loser reptilians living in the caves beneath Utah.
Cue the Data Battles theme.
Just say Dr. Rendezvous is my mom. Until next time.